And maybe we're live, maybe we're not. Good morning, folks, wherever you are out there. Welcome. You are listening to the Charge Life podcast. I'm Joseph Barletta, and this is where we discuss EVs and all things EV charging. So glad you could pull over and park with us today. Hey, let's get plugged in. Look, today's episode's all about Smart Charge America signing a deal with Tesla to become a charging provider under Tesla's charging network. Huge, absolutely mind-blowing news. You're going to love this one. Hey, before we begin today's episode, it's brought to you by Smart Charge America. Since 2007, Smart Charge America has installed tens of thousands of EV charging stations nationwide, and they can do the same for you today. Whether in the home, commercial, service, fleet, let their team of expert installation specialists guide you to the best charging solution for your EV charging needs. After all, if you can't charge, you can't drive. Visit smartchargeamerica.com today to get started. All right, listen up. Smart Charge America signing a deal with Tesla to become charging provider under Tesla's charging network. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about the history behind this. So we know that Tesla has engaged in, let's say, 4 rounds of destination charging, right? So they had their first round back in 2012 to 2015 with the Gen 1 charger, right? Where they just went ahead and blanketed a bunch of hotels all over, hotels, resale centers all over the US. Very select choice, few locations, but for the most part, what they would do is they would gift those businesses charging stations, and they would actually pay a certain amount towards the installation to electrical contractors like Smart Charge America. We'd go in and install, but that business basically operated and ran those charging stations. They were not able to really monetize, but they used those charging stations as, kind of lily pads or attraction models to attract customers or maybe to even retain employees that drove EVs at the time. Now, that is the first round. The second round, they did it again, but they did it with their Gen 2 wall connector, where they, again, gifted the chargers and then maybe rewarded some of the actual, maybe a certain amount towards the installation to help, with the burden of install for the actual business. The third round, Tesla did with their Gen 3 wall connectors. Now, the Gen 3 wall connectors were really unique because that's where they were actually able to monetize the charging stations. And so now the businesses that set up these chargers, now they're actually able to monetize those chargers through something what's called Tesla for Business dashboard. So this is like kind of the software side of Tesla's magic for a lot of these hotels and retail centers that actually were gifted and deployed these projects all over the nation. Now that happened between 2022 and 2023. So in the earlier part of 2023, Tesla said, "Hey, you know what? We're giving these businesses the ability to go ahead and monetize their stations and become charging operators on their end. Why not do it ourselves? We already own this supercharging network. Let's go in and do the same for ourselves when it comes to, you know, destination charging, right? So we already know how to do this game with the supercharging network. We've been doing it very successful. We have over 25,000 chargers all over the US. Let's do it on the destination charge side, and we can actually complement and help offset some of the constraints on the supercharging network. So they started rolling out their Tesla's own internal owner operated network for the level 2 charging. Now, what they did was they layered the supercharger kind of way of doing things and design over this unique platform. And as a result, it's not supposed to take long for your level 2 charging 240-volt charging sites to actually be deployed and in the ground. Those should actually move a lot faster because there's just less construction work, less electrical work that you actually have to do and deploy to be able to get those sites operational. Now, when you layer the supercharger, kind of I guess installation criteria over that system, what happens is that system becomes bogged down with a lot of regulatory requirements, bureaucracy, and it stretches out the timeline to get those charging stations in the ground and deployed. So as a result, what we saw back in like October of 2023, we saw that Tesla was paying us to do these charging station sites for them. But then we were like, Tesla, why? Like you're averaging $8,000 a port for these charging sites. Why don't you, we have about 300 customers, commercial customers coming to us every single month. Why don't you allow us to be able to set up our own charging network under your umbrella, just like you're doing with all these hotel chains, the Hiltons and the Radissons and the Marriotts? Why don't you allow Smart Charge America to do that? And what we can do is we can offer a flex play to some of our customers, right? Where they can do the traditional model, or they can go a few other flexible models. and we can actually expand our offerings to our customers, and therefore we can close more, and we can actually start putting more charging stations in the ground faster, cheaper, right? That's our goal. So we pitched Tesla 3 times, and on the third time, back in December of 2023, Tesla actually considered and granted us the permission to actually start setting up our own charging network underneath their umbrella. Now, it's been a couple of months where we were going through legal, we were doing a bunch of stuff back and forth, and then of course, you know, April 30th, the whole supercharger team debacle happens, right? And so it's like, whoa, this is not. So we were kind of in limbo. We didn't really know where we stand. We were working on getting 3 sites. We actually have 3 sites ready, plumbed, ready to rock and roll right now. We did get approval from Tesla that they are really that program is, it's never went away, but it's kind of like now they're wanting to ramp it up and get serious. So now Smart Charge America, for the first time in our history, has the ability to actually become a charging provider for the public. Now we are going to focus on destination level 2 public charging. That's what we're going to focus on. Whether or not it's behind the gate, in front of the gate, that's one of the things that we're still kind of toying with, like kind of what segment market we want to focus in. But I will tell you that really this is really good news. Now, here's the key fundamental part on us as electrical contractors and actually creating our own charging network as electrical contractors. We remove the middleman, and so we are actually able to get these charging units in the ground at cost as an electrical contractor. So what does that do? Well, that allows us to be a lot more mobile. It allows us to move faster. It allows us to actually, our cost of deployment is a lot substantially lower. And so as we're buying tens of thousands of these charging stations from Tesla in bulk, we're getting pricing agreements with them to be able to lower the cost on those chargers. That also passes that down to the actual customer when they actually join and are charging on our network. And so one of the things that we have is that we have this really unique opportunity to be able to put in more charging stations faster but cheaper at the same time. And so when doing that, and we're also using, the Tesla brand and Tesla network, so forth and so on. So the moment that we actually put our charging stations in the ground and we go live, bam, I'm in front of 6 million, EV drivers. We're literally ready to rock and roll at that point. So ideal wise, how does Smart Charge America do it? Well, look, 300 customers come to us, every single month, and we vet those customers. We obtain certain information from them, and then, once they pass that screening, you know, let's say we go on site, and when we go on site, we actually do what's called an electrical assessment of the property's electrical infrastructure. So we see exactly where they want to put the chargers and where their electric room is, and kind of what all we would have to do to be able to make this happen for them. And so that's called our electrical assessment. Well, now what we're having to do now is we're actually having to filter those same sites and those same customers with what we're calling internally our optimal site criteria. So our OSC score basically gives us the ability to be able to figure out what are the modern amenities around the location. Is it gated? Is it not? Is it parking lot, or is it actual parking garage? What are some of the amenities? Is it lit? Do we have cameras? Are there restaurants? Are there restrooms? Is it 24-hour access? Are there things that are around complimentary, much like your supercharger sites, that are beneficial for people actually visiting that site? Like, what's attracting people to that site? What's the walk time? What's the dwell time? Is there mixed use? Is it retail? Is it workplace? What are the things that are going to keep people actually going to that site in order to increase the utilization rates? So that way, if we're making an investment in that territory for that host, we want to make sure that we're actually able to substantially increase keep a pretty moderate to aggressive utilization rate there and percentage. Therefore, we're actually able to retain and recoup our investment faster. And so, ideal wise, if you're looking at the electrical assessment and the actual score, the optimal site criteria score, those two together are what we're going to call, or what we're calling our Goldilocks score. So just right? Goldilocks, just right. So ideal wise, what we want to do is we want to be able to look for sites out there that basically have a Goldilocks score, in our opinion, of 70% or above. That's kind of how we're monitoring it. Anything above, we can pretty much assume and really target that we're going to have really good, utilization percentages at that site in order to be able to yield us the actual profits that we need per site. So what we're doing is we're going in a minimum of 8 charging stations per site. That's minimum. If you are a business out there that wants to engage in EV charging station services, but you don't want to have to pay for the chargers, you don't want to have to deal with the whole servicing and ongoing networking fees, so forth and so on, contact us. Okay. You can reach us at info@smartchargeamerica.com or go to our website and visit the commercial quote right there. We're going to be able to kind of basically bring you through the great filter and see whether or not we're going to be able to offer the traditional means of business model. But then also we may have some flexible business models like maybe subscription based or hybrid based approach or fully owned and operated source like Tesla just granted us the ability to do through their charging network through this agreement that we're talking about. We're so super excited. The problem is we're bootstrapped, man. We have been bootstrapping our operations for over 17 years. $50 million in accumulated earnings. We've done, close to we're approaching like close to 50,000 charging stations, nationwide. And so the problem is, as you bootstrap, you're growing just methodically enough as the industry grows, you're able to grow with it. And so the charging industry and the electric vehicle industry, honestly, 2%, 3%, 4%. Now we're at like 6% growth every single year on year. Eventually, it's going to start going up that S curve. And so we're not going to be able to, at the rate at which we're bootstrapping our operations, we're not going to be able to basically keep up with that wave once it actually hits on that S curve and EV adoption does become readily accessible for everyone. Now, what we know, every $5,000 Tesla lowers the price on their vehicles, they double the audience that's able to actually purchase that vehicle. So you see Tesla is going down and dropping that price lower and lower and lower. And so one of the things that we're always competitive or kind of like we have to make sure that we're doing just enough to stay ahead of the wave. Okay. And so as a result, we're going to start taking on investors as strategic partners to come in and help us be able to set our charging station sites up for our customers. But in this case, it'll be for us. And so we're still going to be able to provide traditional charging, related services for all of our customers. But if we feel from our Goldilocks score that our customer can benefit in allowing Smart Charge America to take over the site and take care of all of that stuff and let the customer focus on what they do best, right? That's what they're in the business. They're not in the business of EV charging. They want to focus on what it is that they do best. And they're using the intangibles of EV charging to either attract customers, retain employees, do all kinds of other things, increase their shopping carts, shopping cart size for their employee or for their customers. So there's a lot of things that the intangibles that the customer will actually win on by having Smart Charge America provide those same services. And so at the same time, for our investors, if you are a strategic investor and you're really looking into actually coming on board and you want to come on board a great team, literally we are the guys that are putting this stuff in the ground. So there is no middleman. So as an investor, I mean, I would want to engage in services with that because I know that not only am I talking and dealing with the guys that are actually getting the stuff done, but my return on investment is going to be a lot shorter. And therefore, I'm able to hit profitability faster and basically just ride on my investment to the point where it's an ongoing ARR revenue stream, right? So as we set this, we put the investment into each one of these sites. Our agreement with the hosts are going to be 10, 15-year agreements that we're going to have. And so after maybe first 10 months, maybe the first 5 months, we're going to break even. And then everything after that is just going to snowball into ARR position for us. So not only are we going to have a revenue-based position for our residential, commercial sales, as well as service, now we're going to have this unique arm over here, which is going to be our owner-operated arm. That's going to be us developing and going forth and building our own charging network out. Problem is we need capital to help us be able to do that. So we're doing some strategic, I guess, entity restructuring right now that will be able to enable us to be able to take on those investments as needed. Now we're setting up an advisory board. We already have our board of directors. And so we're really looking to get key personnel inside the industry that know this stuff, but also can actually look at it through a different lens and help us be able to navigate the waters to where we need to actually be in order to make this endeavor a truly successful endeavor. Now, keep in mind, you grow too fast, you're going to collapse on yourself. You grow too slow, well, the wave passes you by. So what we're trying to do now is we are entertaining and talking to investors out there. We have our teaser, we have our pitch deck. But right now, our attorneys are working on some strategic entity restructuring, like I said, and that will give us the ability to open up those shares to our investors How many investors are we looking to take on? I don't know. We've never done this before, so it'll be interesting to see. I'd like maybe 5, 10 really good key strategic investors that will help us, get these units in the ground. But at the same time, I do want to open it up to family and friends, to audience members, to retail investors, and give them a chance to invest in a company that's actually doing really good things. It's actually making an impact out there for the greater good. And so we were looking at this strategically, like how can Smart Charge America make the greatest impact faster? And this opportunity right now that Tesla has guided us, this allows us to be able to accomplish that. As a charging provider, we're able to make an even greater impact for our community, even greater impact for our customers. To have something that's fully reliable. Think about our uptime as electrical contractors. If we actually own and operate the network as an electrical contractors, those stations will never, I'm not going to say never, but the uptime on those stations will considerably, like, will be just astronomically way better than someone else who has to outsource all of the communication and internal logistics that go along, basically coincide with that. As electrical contractors, we're like literally to the point we can see the station. If there's something with AI that's telling us the station's about to go out, we're already out there and deployed before it even goes down. So, but as electrical contractors, we're able to really move fast and repair those units just as fast as we're able to get them on. So overall, if you are looking to make investment, we'd love to hear from you. As a strategic partner, we are looking at possible rounds of maybe minimum $20,000 investments from each one of our investors. Like I said, we're doing some restructuring right now, but the most part, we're looking to possibly do this by the end of this month, which means that opening it up possibly third or fourth quarter of this year to be able to do that. But in the meantime, we're going to put a few charging station sites in the ground. We're going to get those operational. We're going to make sure that we actually show you guys that this is tangible. When we've done our research, we have our Goldilocks scores on each one of these. These are the results that they're coming to us with. These are the utilization rates that they're doing, and then overall, we'll be able to actually put proof, in the pudding, right? We're gonna walk the walk. We're gonna talk the talk, right? So our goal is not to take our eye off of the actual business model that's gotten us to this point. We're going to continue to do that, but we're just going to add another arm that allows us to be able to generate ongoing revenues to be able to build up the value and the most impact for the company that the company can make on our planet. So, guys, if you can, go ahead and click the thumbs up icon if you didn't below. Again, we talked about our Goldilocks score. We were looking at around 70% or higher for the site. So if you have a site, or if you know a business owner that has a site, and they're interested in EV charging, we're going to pitch them the traditional model first. We're going to give them the opportunity to actually see if they want to purchase their own charging stations and provide their own charging stations for their clients and their customers, so forth and so on. But if they meet that Goldilocks score and they're there, then that may open us up to the point where we may be able to provide our own or operated services at the site by signing a host agreement with the actual business itself. Now, if you are a strategic investor and you want to hear from us, you want to hear more from us, you want to listen to our, maybe get our teaser, listen to our pitch deck, figure out how you can make us better, or maybe get in line for that key strategic investment. We'd love to hear from you. You can reach us at info@smartchargeamerica.com. But yeah, look, you guessed it. We're all in. We're going all in on Tesla, and we're pivoting one of our internal business models from not only being a charging installer, but actually now being a charging provider. And this is critical. And so again, we're the actual electrical contractors out there on site. For the first time, from what we're seeing, this is the first time an electrical contractor is actually able to actually go out and own and operate their own internal charging network. And so what is that going to do for the industry? Keep in mind, once those charging stations are in the ground, Smart Charge America owns the electrical lines. That's the key part. And so if something were to go wrong with Tesla, they were to go belly up and we were to have to, change to maybe a new charger or something like that, we own the lines. For us to go out and swap out chargers, that we could do that in minutes. And so the key strategic portion in this is that we're leasing the site from the host for 10 years, and we actually own the electrical lines that are providing those charging stations there. So really cool stuff, guys. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. I can't do this stuff without you. I love you guys so much. It really is. I want to pay this back And I do want to really give this opportunity back to our actual customers and the people that have been with us on this journey for, for the most part. We love you. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. You're watching me announce this exciting news. This is really exciting. I really don't even know where we're going to go from here, but I will tell you that Smart Charge America is going to do everything in our power to make sure that not only our existing customer base are fully functional and happy, but also able to offer flex, more of a flex business offering for our customers. And if that enables more charging stations getting in the ground faster, then that's what we're all for. So again, look, thanks for charging up with us today. Go ahead and click the thumbs up icon if you can. Share, comment, subscribe to our channel if you think we earned it. Again, you can always find us at smartchargeamerica.com. And remember, folks, if you can't charge, you can't drive. We'll see you next time. Cheers.